Alright, tube, Dre here. And this video, I'm gonna try not to call anybody stupid, okay, in this video. I was doing some first of all, ever since 1990, probably 1995, I think it was 95, or it might have been 94, or it might have been 92. I don't really remember. Back in the mid-90s, we'll say. A friend of mine, his dad gave him a 1984 Ford F-150 with a big old inline 6 and a 4-speed manual transmission. At the time, I didn't know how big that engine was, but I knew it was a 6-cylinder, and I knew that 6-cylinders didn't have a lot of power, and it did not seem to have a lot of power. I've done some reading. I don't remember exactly. I think it had 115 or 120 horsepower. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't a lot of power. Anyway, that engine burnt a lot of gas. I remember, we were broke back then, so we used to put $5 in here, $10 in there. Actually, $10 would have been a fill-up. What we would have called a fill-up. But anyway, I remember it wasn't real good on gas. And I never understood why. I'm like, damn, it don't make no power. It's not a real big engine. Why does it burn so much gas? Well, just recently, actually about maybe a year or two ago, I was reading the magazine, and I always wondered exactly how do people come up with engine size. For instance, how do you determine a 350? How do you determine a 5.0 or whatever? But anyway, I was doing some reading, and I found out that it's determined by the bore of the cylinders, which I knew that. It's determined by the stroke of the engine, which I knew that. But I never understood stuff like, I would read, I read something about a Ford 5.4 and the Ford 6.8 V10. And they had the exact same stroke. And I'm wondering, how the hell does a Ford 5.4 V8 and a big ass 6.8 V10, how can they have the same bore and stroke? I'm like, that don't make sense, right? Well, it turns out it's, again, the size of the bore, the stroke of the crankshaft, times the number of cylinders. So, turns out the 5.4 and the V10 is the same engine. It's just the V10 has 2 more cylinders. The V10 is a 5.4 V8 with 2 more cylinders. So it becomes a 6.8. Did I say 5.8? I meant 6.8. So if you take a calculator and you multiply, okay, this I do know. For every liter is about 6 to 1 cubic inches. So the 6.8 times 6 to 1 cubic inches, and you come up with 414. I don't know what Ford called that engine. I know they call it a 6.8. But if you divide 414.8, which is the size of the V10, you divide that by 10, you come up with 41.48. So 41.48 times 10 is 414.8. Now, take the 41.48, multiply that by 8, and you come up with 331. 331 is about the size of the 5.4, right? I don't know that they call it 331. They call it a 5.4. So let's divide 331.84, which is the size of the V8. Let's divide that by 8 cylinders. And you come up with 41.48, which is not what I was looking for. I was looking for 5.8. Oh, I know. I did that wrong. Ooh, damn it. What did I say? 331? 331 divided by 61. That's what I meant to say. And that comes up 5.42, which is that V8 is called a 5.4, right? So that explains why when you look, like I said, that explains why I looked in the magazine. It had the bore and stroke of a 5.4, the exact same as the bore and stroke in a 6.8. So getting back to the big inline 6, I do know Ford is a 4.9 and Ford calls it a 300 inline 6. Now, I've also wondered, I've heard people say, man, the 6-cylinder makes more low-end torque than a 302 V8. And that has always confused me because I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? Every 302 I drove outrun a damn 6. What the fuck are they talking about? Well, turns out people are exaggerating about that 6-cylinder. It does have good low-end torque, but outright pulling a 302, it probably won't. It'll probably outpull a weak 302, but not a strong 302. But anyway, getting back to why it burns so much gas. Like I said, the engine is a 300 cubic inch 6-cylinder. So you take 300, divide that by 6 cylinders, and you come up with 50. So that means every cylinder is 50 cubic inches. Now let's take a 302 V8. 302, divide 302 by 8, you come up with 3775. I hope y'all can see that. So again, the 6-cylinder, big inline 6, each cylinder is 50 cubic inches. In the 302 V8, each cylinder is only 37.75. So if you took the 6-cylinder, which again, every cylinder is 50, and multiply 5 times 8 cylinders, 50 times 8 cylinders, you come up with 400. So if you took a big inline 6, added 2 more cylinders to it, it would be a 400 cubic inch inline 8. 400 cubic inches is a big ass motor. That's a big ass motor. So that explains why that 6-cylinder burns so much gas. It's a big ass motor. You just chop 2 cylinders off of it. So I know this video is kind of long and kind of confusing, but basically, if you take the inline 6, add 2 more cylinders to it, it becomes a 400 cubic inch. So in other words, it is a big block 6-cylinder, which I always, I used to deliver auto parts, and I've delivered a few of those Ford inline 6s, and I always noticed them some bitches were heavy, was large, bulky, tall, and big as hell. Well, the reason they big as hell is because it's a big ass engine. So why don't it make a lot of power if it's a big ass motor? Because Ford put weak cams in that big 6-cylinder. And when I say weak cams, the cams only open up the valves a little bit, and they don't leave them open that long. So that's why the engine doesn't make much power. Now they say back in the late 60s, mid 60s or late 60s, whatever, they made about 170 horsepower. They may have done, I don't know, may have did. But every one I've drove has been a weak ass engine. But I mean, one thing I wanted to add, getting back to the mathematics. If you look up bore and stroke of that big inline 6, how about the bore and stroke is about the same size as a damn Cadillac 425? You know, the 77 to 79 Cadillac with the 425. That was a pretty big engine. This is a big block, right? So that 6-cylinder has the same, not the same, about the same bore and stroke as that 425 V8. So that engine is like it's a 300 cubic inch inline 6-cylinder, but it has a very large bore and stroke. And so if you was to take one, and if you could find a pretty hot cam, I mean, if you go on the internet, they got people selling. Actually, Summit sells a high performance cam for that 6-cylinder. How much power will it give you? I don't know. But I'm kind of curious as to what would happen if you was to put a pretty decent cam in there. Because the last one made in, I think, 97 had about 145 horsepower, 150 horsepower, something like that. And the funny part is, according to the little paper I read, it had, I think it was 280 or 270 pound-feet of torque at like 2,000 RPMs. You know, they had 302s that made about 260, 270 horsepower back in the late 80s. The Crown Vic, the last Crown Vic made with a 302, I think it was 91, I believe. It had about 260, 270 pound-feet of torque, but it was like 2,400 RPM. I don't think it was 2,000 RPM. So again, that 6-cylinder is a big-ass motor, and that's the reason why it burns so much fuel. It's a big bore, long stroke 6-cylinder engine, and that's the reason why it's not real good on gas. And you know, I went online, read some Google. You had some people talking about they was getting 26 miles to the gallon from that 6-cylinder. Them some bitches was lying their ass off. Ain't no damn 300 Ford is gonna get no damn 26 miles per gallon. Not in a pickup truck. You put it into a damn, I don't know, a Crown Vic, give it some 273 gears, it might get it then, but not in no damn pickup. But anyway, that's all the video is about, and I told y'all we ain't gonna call nobody stupid. Y'all have a good day. I just wanted to put my little 2 cents into that Ford 6-cylinder shit. And y'all have a good day. Bye.